Good morning, everybody. Welcome to our September edition of our validation webinar. We've got a great panel of owners here to have you interview, ask questions, learn those things that you need to learn. Um, Before you ask, we're going to go around the room as we do this and ask one straightforward question, then let each of them have a chance to answer. As we have time permit, we'll try and come back around or have you raise your hand at the end to ask a second question, but one at a time. Let's first get an introduction to our panelists and learn who they are, where they're at in business, and a little bit about themselves. Greg, you're the newest one here, so why don't you go ahead and go first?
Yeah, sure thing. My name is Greg. I'm the owner of 99 Signs. It's a sign shop in Nyack, New York. We're about 30 minutes from New York City, closer to the New Jersey border on that side. We started in April of 2023. So we've been in business for about 2.5 years. Interesting story, though, is that I was still working a full-time job while starting this business. So I didn't quit my full-time job until September of 2023. So it's about 2 full years of doing this full time. I'm in a 2,100 square foot facility. It's in a shopping center. So I'm in a retail location, which is kind of different from the Signworld model. I've learned to love it. It wasn't my first choice, but it's great. There's a pizza shop here and a bagel place and a laundromat, and I'm right next to a really large mall, which, as you can imagine, is a good source of sales. We have 3 employees. We have a general manager. The guy that does everything. I have a customer service and sales manager. I hired him in May of this year. I swapped out an extra graphic designer and I included a customer service and sales so I can have that little more boost into our sales pipeline, and a production installer. He was an installer. I got to know him last year and I hired him full time. He runs the printer and laminator, and he installs starting in November of last year. Our sales projection, we did 675,000 in sales last year. We're projected to do 750 this year. As you can imagine, trying to hit that same number as you did the year before is trickier than anticipated, but I think we'll hit that and go a little higher this year. My largest customer is the New York Blood Center. So they are blood donations, right? So where you go, a retail space in a shopping center to give blood. They have, I gotta say, probably over 20, 25 locations nationwide. But I've opened 6 of them in my area. And that includes exterior signage like channel letters and interior signage like acrylic and wall murals and stuff. They represent about 13% of my total business. So they're a great account. And my background is supply chain operations management. I've done that my whole career. The last 7 years, I was running a construction company with a buddy from college, and I was part owner, minority owner, and we grew that business from 400,000 to 3.5 million before we split up in 2021. And I just started to start a sign shop.
Very good. Very good. Ron Martin, tell us about you.
Hey, good afternoon. My name is Ron Martin. I own South Lake Signs here in Tampa, Florida. And Jack, when you said Greg was newer, I was surprised. We're actually pretty close on the same track, Greg and I. I quit my corporate job Labor Day 2 years ago, and kind of similar to Greg, did a lot of prep work prior to that, but website went live October of 23, which is kind of what I mark as the beginning of my business. Let's see. I've got a 3,500 square foot facility here with the standard Signworld package printer, table laminator, and plotter. I've got 2 full-time employees, project manager, and a graphic designer slash production. Got about 4 1099s that do a large portion of my installations. I would dare say 90% of all of my installations. And then I work with one of our vendors at Signworld, works with for graphic design. So they're doing about 20 hours of graphic design work a week for me. So just the scope of employee and headcount and effort going on in the business. 2025 projections at $500,000 for this year. And you know, we're on track, doing very well to hit that. Biggest customers that we've had. I'm finding it's interesting because, you know, I came into this with, you find in the sign industry, sign companies quickly niche out of, I'm going to focus just on this. And I worked very much with my marketing team of, I want a wide range of products because I want to see what the market's going to tell me, where the opportunities are and where the profitability is, because you could easily be doing a lot of work and not making money. And it's interesting over the last probably year, we're doing a lot of monument signs, so multi-tenants, signs out of the street, internally lit or externally lit. And it feels like in our market, that there's a lot of, you know, $5 million gross income sign companies and larger. And then there's a lot of mom and pops or garage guys, and a lot in my size or our size don't have the technical expertise to manage a project like that, pull permits. So, you know, we've done a decent amount in the 35 to, you know, pushing $50,000 monument sign project per. So, and then background. So I spent 27 years in disability insurance, working for 3 major insurance carriers through the years. I was managing their claim operations. So when I left, I had about 7 teams, probably 90 to 100 reports in my line of responsibility that I was managing. That's me.
Very good. Margie, tell us about you.
Sure. So my business is called American Sign Studio. We just finished our 7th year of business into our 8th. And in January of this year, we moved to a new facility, which is 7,000 square feet. And prior to that, every single dollar, and we did at 2,000 square feet with our original sign package. So as we finished up last year, we did $1.7 million in new sales, and we're probably projected to do close to 2 million this year. So with the new facility, it's pretty exciting because we added a bucket truck. We added a direct to substrate printer, UV printer, and we added a laser. And we also added 3 more people. So this is like the year of growth and scale, and you know, the bills keep coming in, but it's super exciting because, you know, we're still growing, even though you know, we've added all of this additional equipment and resources and people, and we still use 1099s also, just because not everybody designs ADA the same way, and there might just be a special need for something like that. What else do you want to know? Our largest customer actually was my landlord at my previous location. And we established this really cool relationship with them. They own 99 properties across the United States, and we do exterior branding for them. So when you pull up at one of their facilities, they all have the same look and feel. So we actually designed a color landscape type branding package, and we actually established a brand book. So as they're acquiring new properties, they actually can pick the items from the brand book, and they take that sign package and they roll it into their underwriting. So then we have 90 days to execute to the new sign package, which is really cool because last year we did business in 16 states with them. And in May, we just wrapped up a $250,000 project in Indianapolis. So now I get to pay taxes in Indiana and Ohio.
Where are you located?
We're in Columbus, right in the middle of the state. So
And what was your background before?
Yes, I was in product development and sourcing at an international level for a retail company, a division of Victoria's Secret.
Very good. Well, let's turn it over to the guests that we have here and have them ask some questions. When it's your turn, come off mute. Seahart is first, so can you introduce yourself, first name and where you're located, and what's the question you have for the panel?
Yeah, my name's Charlie. I'm in Toronto, in Canada, well, just north of Toronto. I have a background in, last 15 years, I managed $100 million plus companies, and just spun out of a VC funded water disinfection company, but started life in power tools and have done all kinds of things different. This is the first owner's call I'm sitting on for Signworld, and I'm curious to know, with the massive volume or quantity or different kinds of signs that are available, how did you narrow your focus, or are you just offering everything to everybody?
Greg, what's your answer to that?
The answer is yes, and then you figure it out later. So yes, you say yes to everything. Like Ron was saying, like you don't want to limit yourself starting out. You're creating a brand. You're right. You're in the community, and you're gonna have all walks of life coming in. And I think that the model, and Margie can probably speak on this a little bit better, is like after you get seasoned a little bit, like maybe 4 or 5 years in, you can really focus on a niche that you do really well. But in the beginning, yard signs, stickers, metal signs, golf outings, windows, cars, illuminated, non-illuminated, we do it all.
Margie, how do you answer that question?
Exactly what Greg said. We, in the beginning, did anything and everything. And then we figured out our differentiator, which for us was design. And we were doing things that others weren't doing, which felt really good, and people were paying for it. So we just decided then we were no longer going to do golf outing signs, and we were only going to do large size projects with people who were spending other people's money. So that kind of became the secret sauce for us. And my superpower is financials. So having control of knowing what we're spending our money on, what's making money, and then focusing our sales on the things that are most profitable is really kind of where we excel.
Okay, very good. So Ron, how do you feel confident taking on a project you haven't done before? What resources do you have to help build that confidence?
Yeah, I mean, one, I've got a project manager that's been doing signs since he was 6 months old. So he's a similar age to me. He's a treasure that I found. So his skill set is fantastic to bring in. We've got weekly mastermind calls as part of the Signworld platform that, like staged owners that are about at the same stage as myself, we can bounce ideas off of each other. But there's also learning and webinars and calls that Signworld offers us that is really good information to help. Not only calls where I can get on and say, hey, Brad, I've got this project. What do I do? But also educating on different topics. We'll have webinars on wall vinyl and what kind of vinyl you use, what kind of issues you can run up against, what you need to be aware of, just general topics. So there's a lot of tools that are offered to us as Signworld owners through Signworld. And on top of that, as I'm building my network with sign company peers, both locally and nationally. And I love the industry because 90% of the people in this industry just want to help you, just want to build your skill set. So I've got quite a few people that are just a phone call away of help me understand and what do I need to worry about.
Very good. Dan Tate, what's your question? Come off mute, Dan. Tell us where you're from and what question you have. Hello, Dan. There you are.
Yep, here I am. Okay. Yeah, my name is Dan Tate. I'm in the Boston area and I am a research scientist previously. I've been doing that about 10 years. So my question is, when you were all starting out, what kind of concerns and fears did you all have that turned out to just be nothing and that they were worries that weren't really any worries at all?
Good question. Margie, what fears did you have?
So I was kind of naive and I thought I could rule the world. And my biggest thing was just not knowing what I didn't know. And as you're building a website, you're learning all this stuff about Google AdWords and pay-per-click and that kind of thing was a little bit overwhelming, but then I found an expert and it was a lot easier.
Okay, very good. Ron, what's your thoughts on getting over what?
Yeah, I would say the biggest fear was, is the phone going to ring? Are people going to ask for quotes? You know, I knew Tampa Bay area, good market, and there's a lot going on. But, you know, flipping a switch on the website and getting the business up and running, am I going to sit here and twiddle my thumbs for, you know, 6-9 months before I even start getting traction? And, you know, it took off right away. I was really surprised.
Very good. Greg, what fears did you have and how did you get past them?
Yeah, you know, I think that like you have a fear when you're starting something new that like, you know, you're not good enough, you're not smart enough. And so like you would tell people like, what do you do for a living? And so like, you know, I started a sign business and you try to pump yourself up. They're like, you know, like I'm bigger than what I actually am. But it turns out people really enjoy your story. You know, like being new to a community, new small business owner, people really want to help you. So I just became transparent and be like, hey, listen, like I started this business a month ago, you know, like I have one employee. Like, oh, do you know anything about signs? No, but I'm learning. And then people really gravitated to that. So don't be afraid to be yourself and just be transparent because like your story will become a selling point as well.
Very good. Greg Vail, come off from you. Tell us where you're from and what your question is.
So I'm actually across the bridge from Greg and Nyack. I'm in Westchester County, New York, and I'm a former car dealer. Me and my family just sold our business about 6 months ago. I'm considering this and several other franchises and different opportunities. I guess my question would be, especially in New York and in Westchester, each town has permitting nightmare problems. How do you guys get around the permitting? And what are your thoughts on that?
Okay. Margie, only a certain percentage of your projects need permitting. So you can either avoid those projects or you can go after them. And then how do you manage to deal with the permitting?
And all that information is completely accessible. You can even chat GPT it by address. So it's gotten a lot easier and not every place can you get a permit, but then you just find somebody who has maybe a sign erector's license or the information that you need. It's not been as difficult as I thought it was going to be, especially because there's a lot of paperwork involved in it. It's completely doable.
And it's a good profit center for you?
Oh, yeah. I mean, it's a differentiator. If you're smart enough to figure out the paperwork, then you can charge for it.
Okay. Ron, your thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, so Florida's, you know, one of the stricter states in the country for permitting. Have to have a GC license and not like other states, I can't just sit for a GC license. I have to sit and then I have to have a 3-year internship under a GC to get my GC license to be able to pull a permit. So quite a journey and pretty strict in the state of Florida. So I have an installer that has a GC license. He can pull permits. We also work with permit expediting team here in Florida that can pull a permit for other contractors that I have. So, like Margie said, it's you just got to get your head around it, understand generally what the code is, and then line up your resources. And after that, it's just another step in the process for me.
Greg, anything to add?
Yeah, in the beginning, it could be a little intimidating because every town has a different requirement. However, you figure it out, you do. And then like to Ron's point, you become the go-to sign company that knows the permitting process. When I was starting out, I even went to the building departments and introduced myself and say, hey, I'm starting a sign shop. How can I make your life easier? And they'll give you the paperwork, they'll tell you what to do, they'll give you their cell phone number. And so like, hey, there's somebody opening up in Nanuet, what do I need to do? They'll do it, they'll help you out, because you don't want to be the company that avoids permits. You want to be an upstanding company in your community.
Just go.
Tonight I'm going to a town hall in Nyack. I'm actually doing a permit in White Plains in 2 weeks. You become a regular in the Architectural Historical Review Board meetings. And so you get actually referrals from the town. Hey, so-and-so's opening a business, go see Greg at 99 Signs. He could take care of your sign for you. So you actually spin it and it becomes a positive sales funnel for you.
Excellent. All good answers. I want to ask my panel, shorten your answers just a little bit. We got a lot of people here that want to ask questions, so we make sure we get to all of them. Gus, are you there? Can you come off of mute and ask your question?
Yeah, sure. Gus here. I'm actually from Mexico, and I'm looking into this opportunity with my sister. I don't know if she's here, but I guess my question would be, what has been your most reliable source of new customers? I mean, do you rely more on networking, on digital ads, repeat business, partnerships? Like, what would you say is the most reliable of those?
Margie, you can probably answer that 3 different ways between what you did in the beginning, what you did in the middle, and then what you do now.
Sure. The beginning, it was a third, a third, a third. A third was pay-per-click, a third of it was networking, and a third of it was referrals. Today, 81% of my business is repeat.
Okay.
Ron, how would you answer the question?
Yeah, probably trying to get to 50-50 right now. It's heavier web marketing, but I try to become a serial networker, getting my name out there, getting in groups, building relationships. I just got a land developer that reached out to me just yesterday that I met 2 years ago, and I've continued to be in contact with him, and he just reached out for initial temporary signs. So building those relationships and long-term relationships for major projects.
Very good. Michael Hollingsworth, come off mute and ask your question.
Yes, hi, my name is Michael Hollingsworth from Ellenton, Florida, so just around the corner from you, Ron. So down here a little bit south. 30 years in the military, so I'm definitely in looking for something new and definitely exploring. My question is regarding help. I guess, what were your challenges in trying to find someone who had the skill sets to help make your signs? What were some of those challenges that you faced?
Ron, how do you want to answer that?
Yeah, so I think it's a good topic, especially similar to myself. If you're coming from a highly professional industry, you've got high compensation benefit package. It's a different group that you're working with, and I had to go through an adjustment of understanding what kind of clientele or employee I wanted. But I lean heavily on behavior over technical skill. You know, Jack probably remembers I hired my first person that barely did signs, but his behavior was spot on. And I declined one that had years of technical experience, but Jack and I both were like, I don't like the behavior. So lean on what you know and lean on what you've built your skills on through corporate America. But I always preach behavior over technical skill.
Greg, did you have us help you interview first sign maker?
Yeah, I was going to recommend, Signworld helps you out along the way. They do the second interviews. They'll do the screenings because you don't know, what you don't know. So lean on Terry, lean on Jack, lean on Dan, and then to Ron's point, lock down that behavior because ultimately the culture is number one in your business.
Margie?
Yeah, same thing for us. I don't really have anything different to add.
Okay, but there's a talent pool out there. And it's for them, it's a career, not a job. So you don't have the turnover that you have in many other franchise options that you might be looking at. MZAC2. Can you introduce yourself? Tell us who you are. MZAC2.
Yep, I'm Mark Ferzaka. I live in the Chicago metro area. I have been in sales or executive leadership for over 35 years in third-party logistics warehousing space. And my question is, how long did it take each of you to get cash positive?
Okay, Greg, you want to answer that first?
Yeah, it really started out once you land that one big job, like I'm talking like over $10,000. For me, it took about 6 months. Now, leading up to it, my mortgage, was helped out through my company. And, you funnel that stuff through the business because of you are the sole proprietor. But ultimately, like once you get good enough and you hit that first decent sized job, that's when the cash flow starts turning positive for you.
Ron, what was your experience?
I'd say it's a very loaded question because your expenses drive that significantly, and your strategy on your expenses drive that significantly. I put $40,000 into a build out of my building. That's not typical, and other expenses similar to that definitely impact my finances. But I strategically did that and loaded up front heavy. After about, I would say, a year, the business started managing itself, carrying itself financially.
Margie?
Feels like a long time ago. We were always very conservative in how we were doing expenses. And so we didn't have to have a gigantic amount of sales in order just to break even. So it happened pretty quickly for us. But then we had COVID, like right as we were starting to get momentum. So I don't really have a good answer. It's just being conservative with what we wanted to spend money up front was completely different than what Ron did.
There is no concept out there that you can look at that's a get-rich-quick scheme. It takes a little bit of time to go through this. So, second question, would you do it again?
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Ron, Greg?
Yeah, absolutely. My wife is still in corporate America, and she probably asked me, I don't know, 6 months ago, you think about coming back? I'm like, I don't care, because she sees how much work that I'm putting into this and how much effort. And I was like, I am having the time of my life, and working harder than I ever had, but love every minute of it. And the future of this is amazing. So do it over again 100 times.
Vern Ruse, come off of mute and introduce yourself.
I'm Vern Rose, retired Air Force, did the high tech thing with Apple, Nest, Google. Then went the government route. And then I got a love letter from Elon. So I'm looking to really change my life, do something on my own. But I guess the biggest question I've got right now is kind of on the culture side, because that's a big important part for me. But it's, I mean, your graphic designer, your installers, uh, I don't think they're always going to be from that same mold, right? How are you fitting these different people together?
Margie, how
What's-
you manage to mold your people together?
Yeah, for us, I mean, culture is like the most important part of what we do. And every person on our team has a seat at the table and gets an opportunity to speak every Thursday. We actually buy lunch for the whole team. And we don't talk about a customer or a project. We only talk about improvement in process and personal and professional development. So it's really cool because, we're developing this culture and where people want to come to work and help us excel, and they're going to benefit from that too.
Excellent. Greg, how do you address that?
Yeah, as the owner, you attract the culture. So you have to lead by example. You have to be, the best version of the employee that you want. It might not be the first sign maker that you hire, but the longer you stay in business, you'll become a magnet and you'll attract what you put out. And to Margie's point, like, you want a great work environment, be that, and it'll come.
Ron?
Great answer.
Agree with all that. I'll add to, you should also have the mindset of Signworld is a culture. So your peers, you're in a mastermind group. When I was looking at different franchises, one of my key requirements was I need a organization that is good to work with. I enjoy the people, and they're doing the right thing. Signworld, Jack and team definitely have your best interests at heart, but also the peers. The Greg and Margie and I. I don't think I have a Signworld peer owner on my list that I wouldn't feel comfortable going to and just, being completely transparent. We've got each other's back. It's a great group, and that's as much culture to me as my employees in my organization.
Very good. We're going to start showing a couple slideshows in the background that don't have any audio, so we'll continue questions while we're doing it. The first slideshow goes to some of the operations, both inside and out, and showing you how unique and different they are. They each have their own name, they each have their own culture, they've each built their own business a little bit differently. The second slideshow goes to what is a sign. The first section of that is what can be made in-house with the initial equipment. Second section shows more of the outsourced projects, and the third part of that slideshow, some things you wouldn't even think of as a sign, showing you how wide and deep this industry is. The third slideshow goes to the Wall of Fame, and showing that while we start off with simpler projects, moves on to bigger projects, and showing you what some of those might look like. So give me just 1 second to get that started, and then we can go back to questions here. BJ, what questions do you have for the panel today? Hello, VJ.
I tried to unmute it. Yes, now it's unmuted. Well, my name is Vijay. My last name is Gandhi. I live in San Jose, California. I have worked for about 30 years in one of the machine shop. And finally I get laid off maybe almost 2 to 3 months ago. And I'm looking forward to get engaged in something where I enjoy and make money. So the thing that are holding me is how to find the customer and how hard it is to locate one.
Okay, good question.
I am very good making the product. If somebody bring me the work, I'm easy to work with and I can do the good job. I have confidence for that, but I don't have any experience of finding or locating customers.
So Ron, coming from insurance and managing a team, you're not a salesman. So How did you go about getting those first customers? How did you go about feeling comfortable being willing to do that?
Yeah, I would say ditto. I'm not a salesman by heart. I'm an operations guy by heart. So, a lot of your initial customers either come from existing relationships. You start talking about to friends, family, hey, I'm opening up a sign business. My first job was a banner for friends of ours for, I think it was a Halloween party or something like that. So those develop, and your web marketing will bring in customers to you, and then like I said, trying to become a serial networker and building relationships and evaluating through those relationships and those conversations. Is this a market opportunity, or where should my focus be when I'm in a group of 50, 100, 200 people, at a network event? What should my strategies be? But I would say also, I never feel like I'm selling. I'm getting better and better at upselling. I just upsold from vinyl to flat cutout letters just today in a conversation, and it happened very naturally. You end up at a more consultative level because most people are coming to you with, hey, I need a sign on the front of my building. Here's my logo. Here's the building. What can we do? Right. So it's not a cold call scenario. It's more of a, let's talk about the different opportunities, and let's talk about your budget, and let's talk about what you're trying to accomplish to give your voice to your customer. It's much more consultative than sales driven.
Okay. Thank
Uh,
you.
Greg, what's your answer?
Yeah, in the sign industry, everybody needs a sign. Everybody, I was just at a networking group this morning, and those 40 business individuals. I think 15 of them gave me a shout out today because we've worked well together. If you aren't the extrovert and you want to go out there and sell, people will come to you, or find somebody that is an extrovert. But just by being visible, people will find needs for signs. It's everywhere.
Margie, when you started out, you uh, signed up to do some networking, but you had to do that on a temporary basis. If 81% of your business is repeats and you're getting referrals and internet leads, is there an ongoing need for this networking, or is that just a get it started mode?
I enjoy the networking, so I'm definitely out in the market, and I'm doing things like trade shows now, and different things than my original networking group. But in the beginning, Jack, the new owner training, when you give the manual and you give that page of 100 things to do to generate business, I literally took that out in the beginning, and I was like checking things off, do this, this, and this. And one of the things you said was put together a moving group. And that actually is one of my repeat customers, is a furniture company. And every time somebody's moving into a new space, not every, but they give me a referral to that owner. And we have this really nice collaboration. I'm doing a municipal building right now, and so far we've billed $150,000 between interior, exterior, and branding.
Very good. Very good. Ninfa, are you there? Can you come off mute and ask a question?
Thank you, Jack. Hello, everyone. My name is Ninfa. I'm from Monterrey, Mexico. My brother asked a question earlier. I've been almost 6 years in the global procurement area in Sigma. And my question would be, what are your typical gross and net margins for your main types of signs?
Good question. Ron, you want to take that first? How do you try and work on gross margins, both in-house and outsourced? And what are you trying to get to as a net? And how is that improving as your volume goes up, because you're starting to cover your fixed expenses more easily?
Right. In general, high level, I target 60% gross, 20% net. But this goes back to opening up and not just targeting one area. I give an example all the time of a lot of people told me, don't pursue vehicle graphics, not a very high dollar, which I agree, versus other projects. And, others just don't do vehicle graphics, but I went wide open, all different projects, and vehicle graphics are very nice because they're well over 100% markup, and it's a cash flow factor, right? It's not only a gross and net, especially early on, it's where's your cash flow. And those $5,000, I say $2,000 to $5,000 range jobs that you can go from, first contact to receiving your closed invoice cash within 2 weeks, maybe 3 weeks of $2,000 to $5,000 is gold, right? And those are higher profit margin than a monument sign. But the cash, it's a cash flow factor. So that get to where you wanted?
Very good. Greg, how do you want to answer the question?
Yeah, I mean, loosely what Ron said, you try to go for 70% gross, 20% net. But last year, I'll just tell you, I came in at 57% gross. This year, I came in at 63% gross. So, our pricing is getting better. Net last year was more of a break even, where this year we're looking at around 12%. So that's gonna increase as well. But that's something you see in year 2 and year 3.
Okay, Margie?
We run at a 50% cost of manufacturing. So we take employees' salaries, everybody's, including mine, and include that in our cost of goods. So our net is really good. We're at over, 31%.
So we're, Greg and Ron were first talking of 60, 70%. That was material only, where you're including the labor in it as well.
Yes.
That's right.
A little different way to look at it. Excellent. Very good.
Excellent. Thank you very much.
So it's a matter of charging full price and learning how you can maneuver that. It's not only the science of pricing, but the art of pricing. It's then managing the project efficiently, that you get it done the first time, you get it done at the timelines you expected. So there's a lot of profitability, not just on the sales side of driving the sales, but also on the managing of the projects, running the business efficiently. Rafali, are you there? Can you ask a question?
Hi, yes. Hello, everyone. Rupali here. I am from the Chicago area. My question was, since the point you signed up with Signworld, how much time, whether weeks, months, years, did it take for you to become confident with your knowledge in signs, whether it's 50% confidence, or how much ever you think is needed to really start becoming successful and effective?
So Margie, there's both the fake it confidence and then the true confidence. So when did you cross those two?
Sure. I was not confident in the beginning, but even with just a little bit of training, how to run the equipment, the mastermind, all of that ended up with maybe a few months, I was able to speak the language. And then every single week, there's some kind of training that you could do to improve on your skill set. So I'm still learning stuff. I did a whole entire adhesive webinar yesterday for an hour, just about different types of materials that you bond together. So it just depends on how deep you want to get. But for us, knowledge is power. And the more we know, the more we're considered experts.
Excellent. Excellent. Technically, I'm the head trainer. There's not a day that goes by that there's a question posted on the website that I don't have the answer to. But by the end of the day, I'm learning something new. That's the beauty of the business, is that you don't need to know it all. Through the system, the answers are there. Ron, how about you and your confidence too?
Well, first of all, Rupali's got a LED neon sign in her background. That has to be impressive to everybody, right? I don't think I've seen a perspective with a sign in their signature, so congratulations. Yeah, agree. Probably within, a couple, 3 months at a customer view of me, I could speak the language and be confident, but it amazes me every day of what we're learning, what I'm learning, and the details. I talk about all the time, the detail at every level, at initial conversation, at quoting, at production, at installation, just opens up from stage to stage of, I need to consider this detail. I haven't thought of this detail. What are we going to do with this? And for me, it kind of comes in stages as we work through the project. And, it's amazing. I enjoy that because it's kind of the mentality that I kind of thrive off of is problem solving and understanding and learning. But every project's different, and I don't think there's a day that goes by where I'm not like, hey, Steve, what are we going to do with this? How do we work through this? And we have to have conversations. And he's, been doing it forever. And, it's rarely just this is the way we should do it. It's, let's talk through it and figure it out. So that's intriguing and engaging to me, but there's a lot of detail involved.
Very good. Greg?
Yeah, I would say, probably give yourself around like 3 to 6 months, but there is a continual learning. Just being in the business every day, like you learn it, by touch and feel and sight, and you're in the custom sign business, so every job is custom. So you'll continuously learn new stuff. Signworld does a great job of webinars. I think it's like 3 to 4 to 5 days a week. You can always pop in for an hour and really just like absorb all the knowledge that they have to offer.
One of our Signworld owners will tell you, you have to learn to be uncomfortable being, or learn to be comfortable being uncomfortable. But the good news is that while we talk about these big, complicated projects, 98% of signs in the world are indoors, which mean they're smaller, simpler, and manageable. And you only take on the ones that you want to take on and avoid the other ones. Scott and Lisa, are you there?
Hello, this is Scott and Lisa Castellitz. We're in New Braunfels, Texas, which is just north of San Antonio. I'm a retired Army officer, been doing corporate stuff since I retired out of the Army, and I'm looking to get out of that because it's just not fun anymore. And my wife works in customer service for a credit union, and she's wanting to get with me and help us build something together. Our question is about startup financing. How did you each finance the beginning of your business? What methods did you use? And was there something that you either thought, wow, that was really good, or I shouldn't have done that and probably should have gone another direction?
Okay. Ron, how did you finance your business? And looking back, was it the right choice, or would you have done something different?
I don't think I would have done anything different. So multiple areas. One, had a decent amount of capital already ready to invest privately on my own, but also got engaged with a program that allows you to roll your 401k over, and you can either do it at a pre-tax or post-tax basis. I chose a post-tax basis because of the benefit of selling the business later on. So there's programs like that. There's small business loans through the SBA. So there's multiple opportunities. I would just say, think
Maybe I'm doing a webinar, honey.
think more of finances that you'll need through the stages than what you initially think. You got to be thorough on. I think Signworld does fantastic, giving you kind of the blueprint of what initial setup cost is, but you want to be conservative. My landlord, one of the first things he said is, I will only write you a 2-year lease contract because a large portion of businesses close within the first 2 years, and it's not out of necessarily failing as a business, it's running out of cash, running out of money. So.
Very good. Greg, how did you finance your business and best choice?
Yeah, I took out an SBA loan. I got $320,000 SBA loan. I needed it. To Ron's point, like you can't have enough startup capital. Because even like after you get through the brick and mortar stuff and the equipment stuff, when you need that long leash for payroll, and then if you want a big project, you got to throw a deposit down, you got to pay your vendors and stuff like that. So I was really happy with my decision, and then it lasted 18 months, and then I'm paying it off now.
Very good. Margie, how did you finance your business?
I paid cash for my initial, and then if I had one bit of advice, I wish I would have done this, was before I did all that, was to get a line of credit on the house, so that if I ever needed to dip into the cash, I could have. But I didn't think of that. So then I was strapped for cash in the beginning, and it was my husband still had his job, and I really wanted him to join me, and it took 3 years before he could leave his corporate job and join me. But that was kind of my own doing, but that's how I did it.
Very good. Very good. We've gone through the people attending. Anybody have a second question? Raise your hand and I'll call on you to have you ask a second question. We've got about 6-7 minutes left. Rupali, go ahead.
Hey guys, this is Rupali here again. What were some of the curveballs that you were thrown? Which means, there is obviously I need to get the customer, the right installer, like this usual stuff that I know will take time. What is something that you didn't expect? The reason I'm asking this question, a friend of mine is like, someone sued my website because it was non-ADA compliant, like something that I wouldn't even think about that. So similar to that, what were some of those curveballs that you had to deal with that you never thought about?
Margie, any curveballs you can think of?
I wasn't expecting to clean my own bathroom. And I did, because I didn't want to pay for cleaning.
Greg, do you have a curveball?
Yeah, I got scammed. I had a guy from Pennsylvania, and he wanted banners for a church because there was a mission in some country, and he talked a good game, and he wired the money, and I thought everything was fine. And then I lost like $600. So watch out for scams.
Okay.
Ron?
Yeah, I would say it was my $40,000 build out, the market, finding a location, especially if you're going to do brick and mortar. It's at least competitive in the Tampa Bay area. This is 3,500 square feet, which is more than I need. But the landlord and the location and the facility was exactly what I wanted. So, a higher rent, but then throwing in $40,000 to build it out was not what I wanted to do or intended to do. But, after some good conversations with my wife and I was like, this is the place. And I've got to do this. And this is where we want to be. And, so I had to bite the bullet and do that.
40 is an unusual number and a personal choice you did.
Yep. Yes.
Scott and Lisa, you have a question?
Yeah, thanks again. Did any of you have any experience with starting it virtual versus starting in a physical location?
We've only been offering that for the last
Okay.
Even in your brick and mortar model, there's a number of jobs you're outsourcing, you're running virtually. So a number of people, I'm sure all three of you are aware that a number of people are actually starting the business now virtual and not having the brick and mortar.
So then on that question, then how for when you have outsourced jobs, how does that work? What have been your how have you identified who to work with? How have you made sure that you're still making a profit? Yeah.
So Greg, it's a project you can't make in-house. How are you gonna manage to get that done and get it done right and get your margin to it?
Yeah, you lean on Signworld, you lean on your mastermind group, you lean on people who have done it before you. And so they'll help you out every step of the way. And then when you find like a trusted sign installer, you pick their brain. Say, hey, listen, like how should this be fabricated? How should this be designed? And the installers will tell you, exactly the right way to do it. And then you're just a project manager. There's still signs that come in and out of my shop where I don't even touch the sign. I don't even see the sign until it goes up and I take a picture and put it on my website. So ultimately you lean on people who have done it before you, just project manage it.
Margie, you got projects going on in 16 different states, so there's a lot of projects that you're not touching and you're third-party managing.
Yeah, so most of that we make in-house, and then we LTL ship it to that region, and then we use a Signworld to install it. But honestly, it's not even about outsource. I think it's about that a lot of the demographic of people who involved in Signworld had a corporate life or had a professional life, and they're intelligent people. And if you're smart and you say what you're going to do and then you do it, it gets results. And not everybody who owns a sign company is like that. So you can elevate yourself so easily by just having integrity and following up and just being who you were always. It just makes a huge difference. And it's what you did in your corporate life. You're probably going to do the same thing for yourself and more. So you're already set up for success.
We've got two more guests here that ask questions. So Chris Hart, what's your question?
I'm going to go back to the numbers if I can. I'm curious to know if you guys had a bucket of working capital that you managed to, or did you just kind of wing it? And if you wing it, if you winged it, would you do it that way going forward again, or would you actually have a bucket of working capital that you worked in?
So we recommend that they have current number is $50,000 in working capital.
Well, I know what the current number is. I'm wondering if they chose to have a bigger number.
Ron, did you choose to have a bigger number?
So, I guess the answer is, do you want to sleep at night, right? Because it's stressful when your capital gets tight. So I started with $50,000. I ended up taking another $50,000 SBA loan for capital. After that, probably, I don't know, 6-9 months in, because I was getting tight. I was, surviving, but stressing out. So I chose to take another $50,000 as a loan for just working capital.
Greg, what's your advice?
I had the large amount to get me going. So I took as much as I could just to have it. And then the beauty of making revenue is once you start creating revenue, banks take notice. And my bank took notice and they gave me $100,000 line of credit at 7% within my first 10 months of operating. So that was a blessing that happened as well.
Marjorie?
Yeah, I winged it, but that was a little stressful for sure. And then we're women owned, so if anybody here is going to be a women owned business, that was there's lots of resources for that. I ended up buying a $100,000 piece of equipment this year with a 1.5% interest rate. So there's just a lot of benefits, and establishing a relationship with a small regional bank in your area, I think, is key. Not only did I get a $170,000 project with them, I have a 4.75% interest rate that's for my cash that's sitting there ready to be spent. So there's just a lot of ways to help generate some extra revenue
So Charlie, the 50 is the recommended. However, beyond that, I highly recommend that you set aside some extra monies, because the worst thing in business is being cash short, being cash tight, because then you start playing defense instead of playing offense. You start cutting back on your marketing and other things. We had one last question. I know we're right at the top of the hour here, but Vern,
Thank you.
Vern, did you have a second question?
Yeah, you pretty much set it up right there for me. How much are you guys spending a month on marketing? And is it a constant, or, is it variable?
Ron, what's your budget on a monthly basis for marketing?
$2,500 max. So 1,000 of it is paid ads, so that does fluctuate.
Okay. Greg, what's your budget?
Yeah, it's $1,450 fixed, $1,000 a month for Google ads, and then I just added a $300 a month extra for a newsletter. So I'm at 27.
Margie?
We maybe $800 a month for internet, and then we do things like trade shows and other things, but that's really it. Now we have a lot of SEO traction. It's really not a necessary part of our business.
Excellent. Well, thank all three for being here. We appreciate taking time out of your busy day. Thank the guests that are here for attending. Hope this is helpful for you. If you want to rewatch it, you can go back to our YouTube channel by tomorrow and watch the recorded link of it. And we look forward to helping you in your continued journey, figuring out if Signworld's the right fit for you.